dog shit. This is not investment, my dude. Investment is, I like what you're doing, like, please keep doing it. Or investment is not saying this is a takeover. This is creating sock puppets. This is pissing me the fuck because this is some wokey bullshit. I'm sorry, when you put yourself out online, you're gonna face some weirdos. You're gonna face danger, right? Like, yeah, it's dangerous to like put yourself out online because there's always a weirdo who could track you down and do something. I get that, but like, is he trying to say that she and nowhere in this video has he said that she lied at all and about what they're doing? They took dark money that they did not know it was coming from, and they signed a restrictive contract that would control their content, creating an army of sock puppets for Chorus.
Ray describes an initiative aimed at boosting Democrats online that offers influencers up to $8,000 a month. The program is funded by a powerful liberal dark money group called the 1630 Fund. And per the contracts we reviewed, the creators involved are not allowed to disclose the details of the funding agreement publicly. But what is the 1630 Fund? And
so that's the red flag right there. That's the red. I don't even have an issue with these people taking money from wherever they're taking money from. The issue is, as soon as they're like, look, you can't discuss where you're getting this money or the terms and conditions of the contract that you had to sign to get this money. Ding, 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 ding. Red flag, red flag, red flag on the play, red flag on the play, red card, immediate exit, get out, get off the field. If all these creators who took this money are now in a complete like defense mode, they're out here trying to sling slop at anybody who's accused them of being a paid, shill, which is what they are, trying to call them racist and sexist and say, it wasn't like, then why, if it wasn't a problem, if everything you were doing, taking that money was above board, then why could you not talk about it? If I got sponsored right now, if Raid Shadow Legends called me up, what's the big one right now? I'm showing my YouTube age, Raid Shadow Legends. The big one is Ground News. If Ground News wanted to give me money to push Ground News, I'd be like, hey, this stream is sponsored by Ground News. Here's what Ground News does. I'm proud to get money from them. This aligns with my values, and I don't see any issue with it. So shout out to Ground News and what they do. Y'all should go buy from them or whatever, right? If that's what you believe. If the Communist Party, they have a thing in China where they hire Western influencers. It doesn't matter what color you are, so don't get stuck on the name, but they call it a white monkey job. And I'm sure you can kind of imagine why it's called that, because you're a monkey. They're cranking the box and you're saying the words, right? I would take that job in a heartbeat. If they were like, hey, we're going to give you money to talk good, we'll pay for you to come out to the CCP, not CCP, but China, and you're going to get paid money by the CCP to say good things about China. I'd be like, well, what do you want me to say? Let me see if that aligns with my values. And if it does, I will proudly say, this stream is sponsored by the Communist Party of China, and I'm their new white monkey. No problem with that at all. I wouldn't hide it. The problem is not that they took the money. The problem is they hid it. The cover-up is worse than the crime, even though no crime was committed. They knew they were wrong. They knew they were fucked up. That's why they feel some type of way about
it. Is there any legislative effort?
Okay, so that brings the question here, what this is really all about. What Chorus actually is. And that content creators were like, I wasn't told what to say. Yeah, because what Chorus actually is, and I haven't heard this talked about, it's the old, if you've been making content, or at least tried to, like myself, attempt to make content over the years, especially in the early-ish days of YouTube, you remember multi-channel networks. Multi-channel networks work like this. They sponsor you, or they put you in a contract, and you get like, it's when monetization was really hard to get on YouTube. And that's why like monetization is a lot easier to get now, because they wanted to kill off these multi-channel networks who were pretty much abusing and taking advantage of content creators. So a multi-channel network would sign you into a contract. And yeah, exactly. Jeff says this is what TYT did back in the day. You can ask Jeff Waldorf, who's in this space. I'm sure he can tell you all about that, because that's how I first saw him, was on the TYT network or whatever. Multi-channel networks work like this. Depending on what your mill is, how many thousands of viewers that you could get, they would pay you out a small percentage, and they would lock you into a really bad contract. But you were starving, and you were just happy to get any kind of monetization out of it. It's not like that you had a handler assigned to you that was literally watching your content, watching your streams or whatever. They left you alone to do whatever they want. Because what they were doing was they were seeding little bits of money and locking content creators into bad contracts, hoping that one of them would blow up. And then when you blow up and you get this huge community, this huge following, what happens then is they go, aha, now we've got you locked into this same bad contract, and now we get to make all this money off your ad revenues, and now we will tell you what you're going to say, and we will dictate to you your contract because that is in the terms of the contract you agreed to. That's what Chorus is. That's what Chorus is doing. Chorus is saying, here's a really bad contract. We'll give all these people who are right now making no money, we'll give them some money, so it's some money better than no money. Here's a really bad contract that says, what you can post, what you can talk about. You can't talk about Chorus, you can't talk about this. We have complete control of your content, but they never exercise that or enforce that until one of y'all become Hasanabi Jr. Then they will enforce that contract. That's how it worked. That's the real devil in the details, of course, and what they were trying to do. Dog shit. This is not investment, my dude. Investment is, I like what you're doing. Like, please keep doing it. Or investment is not saying this is a takeover. This is creating sock puppets. This is pissing me the fuck off, because this is some wokey bullshit. I'm sorry, when you put yourself out online, you're gonna face some weirdos. You're gonna face danger, right? Like, yeah, it's dangerous to put yourself out online because there's always a weirdo who could track you down and do something. I get that, but is he trying to say that she and nowhere in this video has he said that she lied at all and about what they're doing? They took dark money that they did not know it was coming from, and they signed a restrictive contract that would control their content, creating an army of sock puppets for Chorus. What the fuck is this guy on? This is bullshit. This is wokey bullshit right here.
So knowing that the tide was changing, I made a decision earlier this year
That's not an investment. He's not talking about investment. If I invest in a corporation, if I invest in Body Armor, which is what I'm drinking right now, if I invest in that, yeah, I get to, depending on my level of investment, I get to have a say at the Q meetings and sit around with other investors and ask questions about the company. And if I don't like the way that the CEO is taking the company, then I can sell my shares. What I do not get to do is make the CEO of the Body Armor Corporation change their drinks to suit what I want and turn them from, a drink company to making hamburgers or something else and just be a sock puppet for whatever my interests are. That's crazy. This is not investment. This is Chorus creating sock puppets. This guy's full of shit.
A bunch of guys, a bunch of dudes from White Dudes for Harris, which, yes, supported a Democrat for president who was running against a fucking racist fascist. For those fucking leftists who want to pretend we didn't have one or two options.
Oh, fuck yourself. Fuck
it was either
yourself.
A fascist or a Democrat. Anyway, I digress.
A fascist or a Democrat? Oh, you mean a distinction without a difference? You going to sit here and tell me that Joe Biden wasn't sitting up here talking about we need to put immigrants in a blender and we need to build a wall? We need to not just finish building Trump's wall, but build a wall behind the wall because we have such a bad immigration problem in this country, which we all know is complete dog shit if you have two eyes to see and a brain to think. You gonna sit here and tell me that Barack Obama didn't drone strike Americans in other countries and commit war crimes? Get the fuck out of here, dude. A Democrat and a fascist is a distinction without a difference. What's the difference in these two pictures? They're the same fucking picture. This guy is he's got Smedley Butler on his damn bookshelf and hadn't learned a damn thing.
We started a podcast so that we could get more men who look like me involved in the
To
right
fucking
side
be
of
a sock
politics.
puppet.
And that's called the Find Out Podcast.
Yeah,
And
I found out a lot about you, that you're a fucking dumbass. That's what I found out.
objectively, our launch went really fucking well. In fact, we immediately jumped into the top 1% of podcasts globally.
I bet you did, because liberals always want their feelings fucking stroked. They want to be told how they have the same policies and the same guiding principles as fascists, but they just want to be invited to the cool cocktail parties, and they want to feel morally superior to people when they... Exactly, Jeff. This dude didn't even get the fucking bag. I want to understand why he didn't do that.
And we've held on to that. We've continued to be objectively successful. But since launching this podcast in March, I have poured thousands of dollars into it to keep it viable, to pay for things like production, to build a website, to come up with the
Boo fucking who? That's called being a content creator. Boo fucking who? That's called, if you think you're doing like, if you really believe you're out here doing a moral good, then you would just do it. Like, I'd love to turn this into a full-time job, but this motherfucker's sitting up here crying because he thinks, here's his mindset. Let me tell you what his fucking mindset is. I'm towing the Democratic line. I'm towing the line. I'm doing the bidding of the DNC. So some of that should trickle down to me. Motherfucker, the world doesn't work like that. Go and get a bag, bitch. Stop fucking sitting up here on YouTube crying.
design for the podcast logo. So when I couldn't overcommit myself, I wanted to do the right thing. So
Wait a second, dog. So you telling me you're crying about how much money you're putting into this podcast that's apparently at the 1% of podcasts in the world or the country or whatever he said earlier. So you should have a way to monetize that. But yet how's the boss? I don't know, Senate. Tell me. But you telling me you had one of the 1% podcasts in the world or the country or whatever, and your dumbass could monetize that to make life-changing money off of that? So now when Chorus is offering you money and you've got a daughter on the way, you're not going to take that life-changing money so you can make you and your partner's life easier when that kid comes along? What is your logic, my dude? What is going on? This fucking guy.
deferred my acceptance. So in the first 3 months of being a parent, this creator thing has kept money pretty.
Sell a t-shirt. You've got that many, you've got that kind of following. You've got that kind of following. You've got that kind of motion that you were bragging about in the beginning. Sell a damn t-shirt. Sell a mug.
I can assure you that Taylor Lorenz's framing about this being like a DNC plant thing is just absolute
Wait, did it say that? Wait a minute.
I know.
Go back. Nazis are fascists, but ironically, IRL can be very welcoming and accommodating. Hence, they're able to effectively radicalize people. They show more empathy IRL in spaces they're recruiting in than these DSA people ever have. It's abhorrent. Another reason the left has no power. This is absolutely true. This is Jeff and I, as members of the DSA at one point in our lives, have talked about this exact thing. That DSA is and other leftist organizations can be a circular firing squad where the Nazis are willing to use anybody, a Candace Owens, who was the gay guy from Britain who it's like, oh, he got kind of outed because he said that pedophilia was okay. I can't think of his name right now. I keep want to say Ollie London, and that's not him. But they'll use anybody until they're not useful anymore, and then they'll 86 you, right? And I'm not saying the left should be like that, but the right understands the power game, and you don't build power by having a circular firing squad, by building a small tent like a lot of leftist organizations do, where they're constantly just willing to just shove people out the door for just minor disagreements. And so I just paused this and read it. What the fuck does any of this have to do with what he's saying about Taylor Lorenz's framing about this being a DNC plant thing? Where the fuck in that paragraph, that tweet that you just put up here, says anything about that? This guy's so dishonest, man.
Like a DNC.
The game is this.
I am one of the people who, not for a while, but
what does taking dark money that you don't even know as a creator where it come from having to do with being a person of color, a trans person, a woman, any kind of the marginalized group? You took the money. It doesn't matter who you are. You took the money. You don't know where it's coming from. You signed a contract where they control your content. What are you on?